What is up, guys? So at the end of episode 13 of Arrow Season 7, it was revealed that the character in the flash forwards going by the name Blackstar, and also she was called Maya in the casting call, her name was actually Mia Smoak, and she's the daughter of Oliver Queen and Felicity Smoak. That sprung up some debate about why her name is Mia Smoak, and what that means for the future of Arrow Season 7, or I guess the relationship between Oliver and Felicity, which I gotta say, I hate the fact that this is the only kind of video I can make right now, because look, if you look at the beginning of Season 7, there were a couple of discussions to make, like how is Oliver going to get out of prison and when, as well as who the new Green Arrow is, and a couple of the things. Now, in the back half, it's who the main villain is, which that itself sucks that at this point we still don't know. We're 13 episodes in, we still don't know, and who or why is Mia's name Mia Smoak and not Mia Queen, and basically why or will Oliver and Felicity break up or get divorced. Because of that, it sucks that that's how it's going. It kind of is similar to Arrow Season 4, where that's the only thing I could talk about, like as a bonus video in this video itself. I'm not saying this season will be as bad as Season 4, because just the first 7 episodes, it already isn't, but I'm saying that I don't like where it's going with this season, where this is the only thing I could talk about in terms of a bonus video or a discussion video for this season. But that is this video going over whether or not Felicity and Oliver will be getting a divorce, because Mia's name is not Queen, it is Smoak. Now, with the name Mia Smoak, it's pretty clear that the name Mia comes from the character Mia Dearden in the comics, who on the show, she had a character who was based off of her, Thea Dearden Queen, or I guess Thea Dearden Merlin is her actual name, probably, but that was a character that was based off Mia Dearden. They did some changes, changed the name from Mia to Thea for some reason, I don't know why, but they did, and they made her related to Oliver, which she isn't in the comics. Now, I'm pretty sure because of this, in the comics as well, they created a new character who is very similar to Mia, as in she is the half-sister to Oliver Queen, although on the show it's the half-sister on the mother's side, while in the comics it's on the father's side, and that is Amiko Queen. Now, that character herself was also introduced on Arrow in this season. Now, we have a third version of Mia Dearden, I guess, with Mia Smoak, so that's 3 versions of that character, just like Black Canary had 3 versions of that character. But anyway, the name Mia obviously makes sense. Why is her name Smoak and not Queen? If she is the daughter of Oliver and Felicity, then she would have the name Mia Queen and not Mia Smoak. It's the same thing for Oliver's other child, William Clayton. He doesn't go by the name William Queen, he's William Clayton, just because he grew up with his mother. He didn't know his father, or who his father was actually, until he was like 10 or 11 years old. I don't know how old he was I'm pretty sure it was Season 4, but William goes by Clayton, and that makes a lot of sense, especially like even now, even though he's living with Oliver, or he was, it still makes sense he went by Clayton now, especially when he's moved in with his grandparents, who are named Clayton themselves. That makes sense. But for Mia, it would make more sense if her name was Queen, if she did grow up with her parents, which is both Oliver and Felicity. But the fact that her name is Smoak definitely raises some alarms about the fate of the relationship of Oliver and Felicity in this season, which is why would her name be Smoak, unless if she didn't actually grow up with both of her parents. Maybe she only grew up with Felicity, and that is it, just like William, and because of that, she took her mother's name and not her father's. This could be because of a couple of reasons. One of them is, in Crisis on Infinite Earths, it's possible that Oliver will actually die in that crossover event, and that Mia will not grow up with her father, just like Nora is not going to grow up with her father, because I guess Barry dies in 2024, or whenever that crisis itself happens. But Mia is not going to grow up with her father because of that, because Oliver has been heavily theorized to die in Crisis on Infinite Earth. Season 8 might be the last season. That's definitely very, very possible. Just going by the ratings of the show currently, it's definitely not great, although the CW renewed Legend of Tomorrow and Black Lightning, which are a lot worse this season, so it's definitely possible it will get to Season 9. But if Season 8 is the last season and Oliver dies in Crisis on Infinite Earths, that could explain why Mia grows up with that Oliver, and why Mia takes the name Smoak instead of Queen. But I don't want Oliver to die in Crisis on Infinite Earths. It makes sense because he's not in the future at all, but he's never been mentioned to have died in the future either. They never actually mentioned whether or not Oliver Queen is alive or dead, so I guess they're leaving it open in the air, but nothing has been confirmed about whether or not he will die in that crossover, so that's definitely a possibility, and it's maybe even likely, but it's not the only possibility for why her name is Smoak and not Queen. And another reason for why her name might be Smoak and not Queen is the fact that Oliver and Felicity get divorced sometime in the future, and that Mia only grows up with Felicity, so either she never meets her father just like William did, or never meets him until it's too late, or like she's too old to change her name to Queen, or she doesn't ever meet her father, and she grows up entirely with her mother, either like maybe hating her father or something like that, because we do see in the future she hates vigilantes, and that might be just because she hates her father, and that leads to the hate of vigilantes. I think that's definitely a huge possibility for why that is going on, or maybe something along those lines. But just the fact that her name is Smoak definitely raises a lot of flags about the future of that relationship. Either Oliver dies or they get divorced, or Mia for some reason only gets raised by Felicity Smoak and not by Oliver Queen, or she just hates her father and just chooses her mother's name instead. The way I see it, there are really only two options to explain why Mia's name is Smoak and not Queen, and those two options are Oliver dies or Oliver and Felicity get a divorce. There would obviously have to be a couple things that happen after Oliver dies or after Oliver and Felicity get a divorce to explain the name Smoak for Mia, but those would obviously be the two big things, because I really can't think of any other reason her name is Smoak and not Queen. Obviously there's another reason, which is that she does grow up with Oliver, which I don't think I went over this. She does grow up with Oliver, with both Oliver and Felicity, but then she grows to resent Oliver for a reason other than she grew up with only Felicity, and that leads to her taking the name Smoak instead. But that just seems too irrational. That doesn't really make a sense. It's either Oliver dies or Oliver and Felicity got a divorce, and I definitely know which one I would prefer from those two. I don't want Oliver to die, and I really, really want Oliver and Felicity to get a divorce. Now, I don't know specifically why they would get a divorce. I mean, just looking at all the things they've been through over the past 7 seasons or 7 years, it's a wonder they're even still together at this point. All the crap that Felicity's given Oliver over just the stupidest things, especially in Season 4, but also in like Season 3 as well as in Season 6, even a little bit in Season 7, it's a wonder they're still even together. I mean, Felicity's just given Oliver so much crap, it is insane. Now, the reason they could get divorced is possibly because in the future, Felicity is a fully fledged criminal. She was dead, but now she isn't, I guess, or she was set to be dead, and now she isn't. So if she isn't dead in the future, then at least have her be a fully fledged criminal, because for some reason I feel like they're just not going to stick to that. They're going to make it in the end. It'll be revealed that, oh, Felicity is the good guy, and I guess Wild Dog is the bad guy in the future, and because of that, Felicity will be, I guess, the main character of the future, which just sounds so terrible. Just keep her as a villain. It's just so much more interesting than a hero Felicity, because at least when I'm rooting against her, it makes sense because she's a villain, while here she's a hero. I'm still rooting against her even though she's a hero, so I don't like that. But I think that her becoming a criminal could definitely put a wedge between Oliver and Felicity, as Oliver probably would not want to be married to a criminal. Why she would become a criminal, I don't know. We'll probably see that in this season, as I hope we see her criminal villain origin story in this season. But that definitely could explain the divorce between the two, and it could definitely explain the name Smoak for Mia Smoak, as she herself is a criminal in the future, and she clearly either loves or idolizes Felicity in the future herself. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below if you think that her name is Smoak because Oliver dies and she grows up with Felicity, or because they get divorced and she grows up with Felicity, or just she hates her father so she chooses her mother's name. Let me know in the comments down below, and if you like this video, don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe, and thanks for watching.